one thing keeping me from killing myself at this point. Alright, we got some stuff to talk about, boys. As you know, because I'm pretty sure all of you watched the game just now, or the travesty that was the game just now. We lost 34-24 to the Vegas Raiders in Vegas. First of all, before I start, I know the setup is different. Let me fix this. I know the setup is different. I'm actually not home right now, but it is what it is. I'm still recording. It's the same thing, just without the fancy little stuff all over the place. We did lose 34-24 in the Raiders Stadium. Now, before this starts, Raiders fans, I know you guys. You are smacking on your keyboards as fast as physically, humanly possible, thinking of any random name or thing you can say about me because I predicted the Saints were going to win. Now, think of what would have happened if the outcome was inverse. You would not be doing that. Don't hit me while I'm down, please. I get it. Like, I said that we were going to win. We didn't. It is what it is. Teams lose sometimes. Good game to you guys. You guys were the better football team by a mile today. By an absolute mile. And Saints fans, we got some things to talk about because what happened today was nothing short of an embarrassment. Like, dude, I have had hot cheeks on my face for the past 2.5 hours because it was ridiculous. We came up 10-0 and then had a 17-7 lead. Then in the third quarter scored absolutely no points. Not a single touchdown, field goal, or anything was scored in the third quarter. And then in the fourth quarter, we had a touchdown towards the end of the game. Almost got into a position to win, but something happened that I'll highlight here in a little bit. But yeah, I mean, Drew Brees, I want to talk about him first. That's the first thing I'd like to talk about today. Drew Brees is one of the greatest, if not the greatest quarterback of all time, in my opinion, and many other people's opinions as well. But I don't know if it's just rust. These last two games have been pretty rough for Drew, and that is not something that I've been looking forward to saying, but as he gets older and older, that's what's going to happen. He's going to deteriorate a bit, and today was nothing short of that. There were a lot of missed passes you wouldn't have seen be missed a couple of years ago, even last year, to be honest with you. That missed pass to Josh Hill wide open when we desperately needed it was one of the biggest red flags of this game for me because that is something Drew Brees never misses. You don't see him missing those corner routes ever, and he did today. There were a couple of off-ball passes that were just bad. He threw an interception, a very, very, very bad interception, threw it right into the hands of their linebacker. It was bad. But we did have a couple of bright spots today. One thing that I was right about this game is that Josh Jacobs was not going to break the New Orleans Saints 44-game streak of not allowing a 100-yard rusher. I done told you guys that. A lot of Vegas Raiders fans got mad that I said he was only going to average 2.8 yards per carry. Well, he averaged 3.3 yards per carry, which is not much better. He had 27 carries for 88 yards. He played a great game. Is one of the biggest reasons Vegas won this game because of the amount of clock control that he offered them towards the end of the game. But let's go over some of the Saints positives today. The main positive I have, well, Drew Brees didn't play terribly. The fact that was a bad game or a red flaggish game for him it says a lot because he was 26 for 38, less accurate than usual. He started the game very poorly. I think was, 8 for 16 or 8 for 18, something like that. He had a 50% ratio at some point in the game where he had been throwing passes. And just the beginning of the game wasn't the greatest for him. We had two good drives at the beginning of the game, but it was like those were the scripted plays. And then after we ran off of that, it was just downhill from there until the fourth quarter, because we didn't do anything in the third quarter. He had 312 yards, threw for a touchdown, and had a pick. His average was only 8.2 yards per pass, which was pretty bad. He had a 91.1 rating, but was outplayed heavily by Derek Carr. Alvin Kamara, the biggest positive of this game. Old Alvin Kamara is back. If we can get the rest of our offense going, this team is going to be dangerous. We just have to get everything else back on track. Not having Michael Thomas, who was way bigger of an issue than any of us thought. Alvin Kumar had 13 carries for 79 yards, a 6.1 average, so he was the best back in this game. Yes, I said it. He outplayed Josh Jacobs. He had 2 touchdowns as well and had a long of 21 yards. Fantastic play by Alvin Kamara. It seems like he's the only one that wanted to win. because not only did he have 79 yards on the ground, he also had 95 yards through the air on 9 receptions with a long of 20 yards. So, I mean, it was obvious that our premier player this game was Alvin Kamara. He did a great job. And the fact that we couldn't win whenever he was playing so great, because we've been waiting for him to return to form for a while, was legitimately depressing. I hate that. But our second leading receiver was Trey Quan Smith, who stepped up in a pretty big way. 5 receptions for 86 yards. Pretty good game for him. He started off hot and then sizzled off. Emmanuel Sanders with 1 reception for 18 yards was the biggest disappointment I've seen in a while. Jared Cook didn't really get involved either. He had 2 receptions for 13 yards. I mean, why did Ty Montgomery have more yardage than Jared Cook did? Our offensive game plan was not what I expected it to be today. But other than that, let's go ahead and talk about the negatives of this game, which, good God, there are a lot of them. Now, I don't have the penalty numbers on my screen right now, but it was really bad. I think if I go here, I can see them actually. It was really bad. Let me try to find it. Okay, penalties. 10 penalties for 129 yards. How? How? I don't understand. How did this team last year, we struggled with penalties at the beginning of last year, but then we shaped up and looked like we had everything under control. We had a lot of pass interference penalties last week too, but I didn't think it was going to carry over. I thought that was just because of the lack of OTAs in preseason, but good God, 10 penalties for 129 yards was such a disappointment, especially when you look at the worst penalty of the game, which I'm pretty sure you guys know which one I'm talking about. It's the pass interference at the end of the game by Janoris Jenkins, which I don't know what happened to the uncatchable ball rule, but that ball was not catchable. It was about 8.5 days round trip in front of the receiver, and we still got called for the pass interference. Janoris Jenkins with a insanely boneheaded decision there. I don't understand why the need to touch him was. Everyone knew the ball was in front of him. Why was he touching all up on him? But the other biggest negative besides penalties is the fact that Darren Waller literally destroyed us. He had 12 receptions for 103 yards and a touchdown. I knew this was going to happen. Every Las Vegas Raider fan mentioned that this was going to happen. They told me this was going to happen, and it did. He smoked us. Malcolm Jenkins played a horrible game. I'm starting to think if he, tried to be less of a social activist in the offseason and practice more, it wouldn't have went that way. But no, he spent too much time and resources to saying a bunch of stuff in the media that at the end of the day didn't really do much, and now he's allowing 103 yards. A lot of that was on Malcolm Jenkins. He also got ran over by Devontae Booker as well. It was Jalen Richard. But either way, he got ran over. We got smoked today. The defense was pretty bad. We allowed 3 touchdowns to Derek Carr on 28 for 38 passing with 282 yards. That was bad. I don't understand what happened either, because the defense started off hot. We had 3 sacks in the first quarter and then failed to get one at any other point in the game other than the first quarter. I don't really understand. I don't know. It was a bad game. If we don't shape up against the Packers, it's going to be a bit of a tough loss, in my opinion. Not having Michael Thomas, like I said, was a big deal. He might be able to play next week. But if we don't shape up against the Packers, it's looking bad. So let me know down in the comment section what y'all think. I'm gonna see a lot of comments about cutting Drew Brees, getting rid of Janoris Jenkins. Marcus Williams can't tackle. I know Marcus Williams can't tackle, but those other two are just, I know y'all are going to say it, but it doesn't make much sense. But thank y'all for watching. Comment what you think about the game, or what you think about the loss that we took today. And I'll see you boys in the next one. Adios.